Hi guys, welcome to another lesson. In this lesson, Lesson 5, I will show you how to update configuration for existing Azure Virtual Machine. In Lesson 4, we created Linux VM and installed Nginx. With Network Interface, Nginx-NIC, Nginx-public IP, and Nginx-NSG. Now, if we need to edit some configurations like add secondary network interface with name Nginx NIC2. Add secondary hard disk. Edit network security group to open port 22 or other ports. Create storage account for boot diagnostics. Create auto shutdown for current VM. Let's see how we can do this. Open the current configuration we did in Lesson 4. Go to Create Network Interface for VM and copy the code. Then paste it by the end of NIC code. Change the RM name from RS4 to RS9, as if you keep the name as it is, this may conflict. Then change name from var.nic_name to be nginx-nic2. Then change private IP address to be 10.100.1.11. Then remove public_IP_ID as we don't need to attach public IP to this NIC. Then go to Create Virtual Machine Code and edit network_interface IDs to use RS9 instead of RS4. Then save the configuration and use Terraform Plan to check the status. You see, after Plan finished, it's display 1 to add and 1 to change. This means that we create new resource, which is NIC2, and 1 to change, that means attach this NIC to the VM. Now the second step is to create another hard disk and attach it to the VM. Create this code before VM code as Azure RM Managed Disk and name the RM as RS10. Then name the disk as Nginx-disk0. Use data.azure_rm_resource_group.rs0.location and data.azure_rm_resource_group.name as resource group name. Then define storage account type as standard SSD LRS and make it empty. Then define disk size as 128 GB. Now attach the hard disk to the VM by creating this code after VM code as Azure RM Virtual Machine Data Disk Attachment and name the RM as RS11. Then manage disk ID equals Azure RM Managed Disk.rs10.id and Virtual Machine ID equals Azure RM Virtual Machine.rs7.id. Then define the LUN equals 0. Now we need to edit the NSG to open some ports. For example, we install webmin and need to access it. The default port for it is 10,000. So go to NSG code and add new rule as security_rule open curly brackets. Define rule name as webmin. Define the priority as 1001. Define the direction as inbound. Define access policy as allow. Define destination port range as 10,000. Then close curly brackets. Now we need to create storage account for boot diagnostics. So create the storage account before VM code as below. Azure RM_storage account and name the RM as RS12. Define the name of storage account as Nginx-DAG. Use the location and resource group name as data.azurerm.rs0.location for location and data.rm.rs0.name as resource group name. Define account tier as standard and account replication type as LRS. Then go to VM code and add boot diagnostics. Open curly brackets, storage account URI, and define the storage account that was created by use rs12 as below. Azure RM underscore storage account dot rs12 dot primary blob endpoint. Then close curly brackets. Now finally, we need to create auto shutdown for VM if you need this VM in dev environment. So create this code by the end of VM code as below. Resource Azure RM underscore dev underscore test underscore VM underscore shutdown underscore schedule rs13. Open curly brackets. Define virtual machine ID as Azure RM Linux virtual machine.rs7.id. Then define the location as we did before, and enable this rule. Then define daily recurrence time as 2000, and this will shut down at 8 p.m. Then define time zone for your time zone here. In our demo, I used Arabian Standard Time. Then define notification settings by enable or disable. Then close curly brackets. Now save all configuration and use Terraform command Terraform plan to check the status. You will see plan 5 to add, 2 to change, and 1 to destroy. The 5 resources that will add are NIC, hard disk, auto shutdown rule, storage account, and attach hard disk to VM. The 2 resources that will update are VM and the NSG webmin rule. The 1 will destroy is extension for install Nginx. This is the end of Lesson 5. In the next lesson, I will show you how to deploy Azure SQL Database VM as a code. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in Lesson 6.